This is Colts Up Close.
Welcome back to Colts Up Close. I'm Steve Andress, joined once again by Colts.com beat writer Kevin Bowen, breaking down what you think are the biggest position battles with training camp's first practice coming tomorrow in Anderson. And earlier in the show, we broke down Jack Muhort in the one game he played at right tackle last year. That's where he's expected to play now with Cheerleaders gone. What we didn't talk about is how that move affects the rest of the offensive line. And the interior offensive line in particular basically has three spots up for grab, two at the worst.
Yeah, it's pretty much a domino effect with Jack Muhort now sliding over to right tackle. That opens up the left guard spot where Jack Muhort started 15 games in 2014. I think Lance Lewis and Hugh Thornton are your two guys there right now. Those guys kind of rotated there during the minicamp when Jack Muhort was at that right tackle spot. The biggest X factor that could slide into that left guard spot, Steve, I think is Donald Thomas. This is a guy that was part of that 2013 free agent class along with Cheerleaders. He was thought to come in here and be a starter in the interior at one of the guard spots. Unfortunately, injuries have just killed him. He played a little bit over a game in that first season in 2013, tore his quad and his bicep in that same game against the Dolphins, then re-tore his quad at the start of last year's training camp. So he hasn't been on the field, only been on the field for barely over a game in 2 years. If he can factor in, maybe he's in the starting lineup. You mentioned the two other spots. I think Khaled Holmes has a little advantage on Jonathan Harrison coming out of minicamp as a starting center. And then at right guard, I think Todd Harrimans is going to be your starting right guard next to Jack Muhort.
Where does Joe Wrights factor into this, if at all? I know a lot of people in the area after the Cheerleaders news have been wondering if Joe Wrights will get a shot at guard.
I think he is going to be, he's so valuable as a backup tackle. I think you have to leave him there. And again, when the Colts go to those 6 offensive line sets, which we've seen to run out the clock in the past couple of years, I think that's where Joe Wrights slides in. And he might just be your 6th offensive lineman at 4 spots. When you come down to it and you're dressing 46 guys on game day, Joe Wrights might be listed as a backup tackle, but he could easily be your backup guard as well. So I'm not sure if he's going to factor into that left guard mix as a starter, but I do think if any injury occurs up front, Joe Wrights is such a great plug-and-play guy.
Jonathan Harrison at center. I think a lot of people forget that he started 10 games last year. Donald Thomas, you're right. I mean, he's got to show he can get through the preseason before we consider that, I think, in my opinion. But now the fun part, the skill position at wide receiver, and oh my goodness, it seems like the top 2 are pretty obvious, but that third spot's going to be very intriguing to watch.
Very intriguing. Dante Moncrief and Philip Dorsett, I think the two guys that are going to be in competition for that. And I think that could really vary over the course of the regular season. What does Pep Hamilton want? Does he want the bigger guy in Dante Moncrief who has plenty of speed, or does he want that true game breaker in Philip Dorsett who obviously has plenty of speed to burn? And then you look even deeper into that group, where's Deron Carter? He was kind of a name that had a lot of hype early on in the offseason, was signed all the way back in February.
He's going to get his shot now.
He's definitely going to get a shot. Now he's in full pads. He's going to see that bump and run coverage from Vontae Davis and Greg Toller. I think this is going to be where we really see where's Deron Carter, where's Griff Whalen, where's Vincent Brown. You know, whoever the Colts do end up cutting at the wideout position is going to get looked at by about 31 teams from around the NFL.
And maybe some of those guys at the bottom of the wide receiver depth chart better figure some stuff out on special teams if they want to make this team. Lastly, outside linebacker.
And similar to wideout, I think this is the deepest position group on the defensive side of the ball. And for me, it's just defining roles. The Robert Mathis injury watch is obvious. That's going to extend all through camp. Then after that, it's who is Trent Cole? Colts fans haven't really seen him. Is he a guy that can play on all 3 downs? Where is Eric Walden? Is he more of a rundown guy? And then on passing downs, does Jonathan Newsom come onto the field? What is Bjorn Werner doing now in his 3rd NFL season? Daniel Adongo, the great unknown at that outside linebacker spot. This is his 3rd NFL preseason. I think fans are forgetting about him a little bit. Still has practice squad eligibility. He's going to be a guy. Do we finally get to see him in a full pad defensive 11-on-11 setting? So many questions at that wideout and outside linebacker spot just because there's so much depth there.
I think fans should also remember when it comes to the front 7, it is a base 3-4, but Greg Minuski's not afraid to get exotic in this defense. There are a lot of times where we only had 2 down linemen and 5 linebackers, or 1 down lineman and 6 linebackers at times last year.
He's going to have a lot of fun on 3rd downs.
He's got a lot of options, just as much as Pep Hamilton has on offense. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us. Right now we transition to the Colts Cheerleaders, and recently they hosted their cheerleader calendar release party.
Tonight we are at Latitude 360 and we are hosting our annual cheerleader calendar release party to our friends, family, and Colts fans.
I love my photo. I feel like, because on that whole shoot, I posed in like 5 different places. So So it was going to be a total surprise regardless, and I absolutely love it. I love the background. I love everything about it.
How can we top the one from last year? And we've done it again. This calendar, I think, is even better than the calendar that we produced last year, and I thought that one was pretty amazing. Everybody puts in 110%, and when it's done, everybody's exhausted, but everybody is so proud of all the hard work that went into it.
I couldn't have asked for better pictures, but I mean, it's still surreal signing these autographs and seeing my face on the cover. It's a really great feeling.
Well, as you can see, the American flag suit looks strong this year, and I'm pretty excited. We had some people in the background, but you know, it didn't affect the photo. Maybe some photoshopping happened, but all in all, I think it turned out great, and I think this calendar is honestly the best one yet.
Still to come on Colts Up Close, we'll show you what the Colts are doing in the community over the past couple of weeks, plus another fantasy face-off, and why you should deeply consider the Colts as your defense for the first few weeks.